Hey guys, Carspec is here, and today I'll be talking about what I wanted to see in Fortnite Season 7 in terms of the loot pool, map changes, and the content it should bring to us in general. So first I'll be going to talk about are the leaks that's been going on about the season. So what we already know is that the theme is going to be about aliens, as we now have players getting abducted by aliens in game right now. So you can now go in game to try to get abducted by aliens and see what happens. But anyways, we already know what the theme is, so what is left to think about are the content of what the season will bring. First, let's talk about the loot pool. So what I want the loot pool to be is to be more of a choice than it being an obvious pick on what to use in terms of guns. For the best example of this is Chapter 2, Season 5, and the worst is Chapter 2, Season 6. Season 5 being the best because it had a huge variety of guns to choose from based on your playstyle, rather than which is the best gun to use. Season 6 did the exact opposite of this, and this is because of the whole crafting system and makeshifts. The problem is that the makeshifts are the weakest guns in the game, making you find a lot of them in early game. So with that being said, the crafting system is really necessary considering that the primal and mechanical weapons are so much better. That even doesn't help the fact that the primal weapons are weaker than the mechanical ones, leaving people only using the mechanical weapons, which is the Scar, the Spaz, and your P90, and that's pretty much all they're going to be using. So well, for this season anyway. So for Season 7, the loot pool needs to get rid of primal and makeshift weapons and be more of a choice. You know, choose which guns you want to actually use based on your playstyle, you know what I'm saying? Now let's talk about the map changes for next season. For the map changes, I feel like it needs to be different from the last two seasons because we've only been getting map changes in the middle of the map, which isn't really that good because, you know, I feel like it needs to be throughout the map. Like, because if you compare what we got in Chapter 1, we got so many different changes and it was all over the map. It was not just one spot. So what I feel like they should do for this season is to bring more map changes, bring more POIs, bring more landmarks, and not just at the start of the season, like throughout the season as well, because that's been a huge lack of Chapter 2 so far. And it's not like the map changes that we've been getting have been necessarily bad, but it's not really much. So that's what I mean by this. Also, I would say that Chapter 2 Season 6 have been really bad in terms of the map changes. Like the primal locations aren't so good at all. Like the Spire, Bonnie Burbs, and Colossal, whatever that's called. They're not good at all. They're bad locations. Firstly, because no one drops at those locations, and secondly, they're primal spots, so you only can get primal weapons, and not much people like the primal weapons. More people are going for the mechanical ones, so that's why not much people drop here in the first place. Also, another thing about these locations are that the buildings aren't so good in terms of like the structures of them and how it's laid out, because what you can't do is that you can't really build around them or in those buildings in these locations, and that kind of makes fights kind of really clunky and very weird, making not much people want to, you know, fight at these locations. You know, for the POIs for the next season, it needs to be a lot different this time. They need to be fun firstly and foremost. Like, come on, like it needs to be fun to build in. It needs to be fun in general. You know, it needs to be like locations that you would want to come back to, and not just like a one-time thing for that just one time when it comes out. You know what I'm saying? Like we had those POIs throughout Chapter 1. Like there were so many good POIs in Chapter 1. We don't get those POIs anymore really. So we need to see more of that. Not necessarily the POIs that were in Chapter 1, but the POIs, but just new POIs basically. I mean, I would love to see POIs that can come back from Chapter 1, but that probably wouldn't be possible I know Pleasant Park, Salty Springs, and Retail Row was all in Chapter 2 map. The start of Chapter 2, but I don't really see much old POIs coming back. But if so, that would be amazing. I'd love to see Fatal Fields back. That's one of my favorite locations. But anyway, let's talk about the general content from the season. Now, this season needs to be a bit different. The seasons that we've been getting have some good content at the start of the season, but that's gonna be like with every season. But for Chapter 2, the lack of it is the content throughout the season, and we've been like, it's not like we're not getting any content throughout the seasons, but the thing is that it's not much. You know, we get only like a few things, and like for one update, like two big things for one update, and it's not, and the big things aren't really big in general. Like, we need to get good content again back from Chapter 1. You know, I feel like Epic needs to stop focusing on collabs and the hype through the season. I feel like they need to focus on the actual content, because if they're gonna show the trailer at the start before the season starts and the season doesn't live up to the trailer, I feel like that's just gonna be a letdown for not only the players, but also for me, like, and maybe for the players that are not playing. Maybe the players that are not playing want to go back into it, and they might be devastated of what they've seen in the trailer, and it's not really as good as when they start playing. So like, they need to put their game up in terms of the content and not the collabs. I know collabs are a good thing to keep doing, because that makes them keep getting more money, but they already have the money in the world. Like, Epic pretty much, like, I know they have a lot of money, but anyway, like, they can still keep doing the collabs. I don't mind the collabs, but they need to focus more on the content from the game, more so than the collabs and all the hype of the trailers, the hype of the updates and stuff. You know what I mean? If the trailer before the season starts is really good, then the season itself better live up to that trailer. Like, that's all I'm asking for. The content needs to be as good as the hype and as the collabs. You know, like, Season 5 had so many collabs and didn't really do good on the content wise, and same goes for Season 6, I think. Anyways, that's my take on what this next season should look like and what should we expect and what I want to generally see. So anyways, that's it, guys. Bye, guys.